everyone, it's Jessica with another layout for the Not Just for Boys Kit Club using the Wild Adventure Paige kit and some add-ons. I'm also pairing this up with Off the Board with this beautiful layout by Daniela, and there's her Instagram handle at the top. And I'm starting out with a sheet of white Vicky Bouton Foundations paper. I'm just kind of showing you what's in this kit and some of the add-ons that can come with it. And there's also some really pretty acrylics that go with this too, but I didn't pull those into the frame for you, I'm sorry. And I'm just flipping through the paper, seeing what I want to pull out. My photographs are from some zoo pictures from 2021, I think it was, if I remember right. Yeah, I think it was 2021. And we're actually looking at the zebras and giraffes. So I have chosen 3 photos to use on this one. And I'm just pulling over my cutting tool here and just cutting these apart. I've matted them with some smooth white cardstock that comes with the kit. And then I'm pulling out these little Shimmerz pots that come with the kit. I'm going to be using both of the colors. The one is Shimmerz Creameez in Sage It Isn't So, and the other one's an Inklingz in Emerald City, which is the darker one. So I'm going to use them both and I'm going to blend them together. I love how sparkly and shimmery these are. They're just so beautiful. And you just have to water them down in the pot that activates them, and then you just kind of smooth them onto your paper. I just push them around kind of like a watercolor effect, and I blend them together a little bit, and then you just get this beautiful color on your pages. I like it best whenever I just let them air dry, but for time's sake, I am very impatient. So I typically pull out my heat tool, as you see here, and I dry it up with my heat tool, and I use paper towel to dry up any big splotches or splatters. And then after this part is dry, I'm actually going to apply a second layer. So I'm going to actually splatter some of the color on top of these areas as well, just to create a little bit more dimension and just to kind of break up that mixed media. So I'm just using my paintbrush again between the 2 colors, just making sure I kind of swish it around in my water just to get any of the other color off before I proceed with the next one. And then I'm just going to set that aside while I work on my photos a little bit more. So I'm going to mat them again. I'm just going to line all 3 of them up, kind of following Daniela's layout and how she had hers matted with, it looked like a couple sheets of paper, pattern paper behind them. So I'm just going to rough up the edges of these photos because that's my thing, and I have to have some distressing in there somewhere. So I decide later on I want to add another layer to those photos as well, but first I'm going to pull up my small paper pad and I'm just going to see what I can use here. I love a lot of these papers. The patterns in this collection are just so gorgeous. And I'm just going to cut a couple of notches in this. Daniela's layout only had 1 at the top, but I've been doing this quite often on my layouts anyways, so I usually like to balance it out and put 1 on the top and 1 on the bottom, or 1 on each side. So I will just back that with one of the pattern papers in this collection from the little paper pad. And then here's where I decide that I want to add a second layer behind my photos, or actually, I guess it would be a 3rd layer because of the white matting behind the photos already and that pattern paper. So I'm taking one of my border punches that looks like a tablet, and I have ran it across the bottom section of my page, and then I am just applying my photos right directly to it and cutting it with my cutting tool. And then I am just going to go ahead and get this stuck down to my page because I know that that's where I want it to be, and I know that I can just kind of tuck things on top of it and in around it. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down with my ATG gun. And then I'll move on here to my title. I've pulled out this cute acrylic piece by Colorcast Designs to use. It says Captured. And I love that. I just think it's so beautiful, and that green just matches this kit so perfectly. But I'm going to add a little bit more to my title and make it say Captured Moments. So I've pulled out the alphas in this kit, which are by Pinkfresh Studio, and I have just added the word moments underneath. So I'm looking at the sticker sheet now, just seeing what else I want to add and pull off from that. I'm going to add a couple little word phrases and a couple little bits here at the bottom, like Daniela had on her layout. And I'm just trying to tuck that underneath, so I had to pull out my tweezers just to get that underneath that layer. And then here I'm just going to go ahead and peel the backing off of my acrylic piece. I like to use the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive for acrylics and my sequins because it dries clear, and it does dry pretty fast too. So it seems to go on fairly smooth, and it's just one of my favorite adhesives, and it seems to hold up really well over time. So I really like using that one. So there I've got my captured acrylic piece stuck down, and I decided it needs a little something extra, so I'm actually going to go in with some white acrylic paint, and I'm going to water that down with my paintbrush and my water, and I'm going to flick that onto my layout right over top of my alphas and my title, just to create some white splatters, just to break that color up a little bit and create a little bit extra texture, I guess. And I'm just cleaning that off of my glass mat. Love this glass mat because it's super easy to clean anything off of it, any type of mixed media or anything. Mine right now needs a deep cleaning. It's pretty dirty, but I need to do a deep cleaning, which when I do that, I just do with a magic eraser, and it seems to take all of that adhesive and anything left over off the mat, which is great. So here I've pulled out one of those little scraps of the patterned paper pad, and I have just cut those pieces and adhered them in those little sections that I notched out. And then I took that cute little giraffe from the sticker sheet. I just love him. He's so adorable. And I just added that right to the right side of my layouts. And then these are little squares that you can cut apart and use on your layouts or in pocket pages or something like that. I am actually going to cut this one apart and create a little feature for the top of my photos. Daniela's layout had a couple little labels, maybe like from Ellie's Studio or something like that. So I just decided to use this in that little section just to break up my photos and add a little interest at the top. So I just did some doodling around the edge of all three of these, and I'm actually going to pop up the bottom two with some Thermoweb Gina K shaker strips. So I'm just cutting little pieces of this off, and then I'm just sticking that to the back, peeling off that backing, and then sticking down to my layout. So I'll do that with the bottom two, and then that top one that says stand, I will just apply directly to my layout, just so that it gives it a little bit extra dimension and just makes it look different. I like things to be different and kind of wonky. I don't typically do anything fully straight and aligned like these photos are, so this is a little bit of a different layout for me. I also don't typically do a lot of white space, so this was challenging for me. I really, really love the white space layouts. I think they look absolutely beautiful, but it is something that I struggle with, so I usually end up filling a lot of it in. As you can see, I filled more in than Daniela's layout had by adding my mixed media, but that's just how I have to get my creative flair onto the page. It's my process. And then here I'm just tucking some thread in like she had on her layout, and I'm using some green thread from my stash just to tuck into the top and bottom to make it look like it flows through the whole layout and behind the photos. And then I'm also going to add a little dab of Nuvo glue just to reinforce that and make it stay in there, just so it doesn't fall out whenever you're flipping through my book or anything. So I will just tuck that in there, get it right where I want it, and then I'm just going to go in with this Nuvo glue, add just a little drop there to the top and underneath, and then to the bottom as well. So I've got that all cleaned up now. I finished up my thread. I'm going to do just a little bit of journaling here at the bottom and add my date stamp with my Paige Evans roller date stamp. And then I'm just going to go ahead and add a few sprinkles with the sequin mix that comes in the add-ons for this kit. And I'm also going to pop this cute little flare down by Scrap and Happy Studio. This is one of the canvas flare, and I just love this little zoo set. So I was happy to get one of these used up on a page because they're just so sweet. And I forgot all about this kit. Comes with those cute little wooden leaves, and I could have added some of those on here, but I had them sitting on my desk beside me and I totally forgot to add them into this layout. So I'll have to do some more zoo layouts and incorporate those in. So I'm just adding a few sequins, and then that's going to finish this one up for today. So I'll link the kit below in case you want to grab it from the shop. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will also put the playlist down below for the Off the Board. And thank you guys all so much for the sweet comments all the time. I read them all and I love all of them. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.